Hey guys. There we go. Welcome. Happy to be here. And I'm certainly happy to talk about our subject matter tonight because we live by these 12 universal, or some people call them natural laws. As a certified law of attraction coach, this is going to be a fun talk for me because I love the law of attraction. I love all the natural laws or the spiritual laws, if you want to call them that, all 12 of them. And they have a huge impact on our lives, guys. You're familiar with the law of gravity. You're not going to mess with the law of gravity. And what I mean by that is, you know that if you're at the top of a set of stairs, cliff, in a tree, wherever you can fall from, the law of gravity is going to work. You won't even challenge it. You know it'll work. You're not jumping off there without some safety net, a parachute, or something to keep you safe. And you're aware of that. And you live by that. And that's cool. I'm glad to hear that. And the thing is, that's the mental approach that we should take with all of the natural laws. Now, I did say there's 12 natural laws, and some people feel there's 14, and I don't want to argue with anybody about that. There, I'm not going to include the 14. I live by and feel that the 12 that I know and am beginning to understand better, because there's 12 of them, they're sufficient to keep me on the up and up, manifesting properly in the law of attraction, keeping a positive attitude. Now, we all know that, well, maybe we don't all know, so I'll tell you, it doesn't do you any good just to be positive all the time. You got to understand about your negative. You can't ignore the negative parts of yourself because those are the ones that'll ruin your positive vibration. So, as much as I'm going to talk about being positive tonight with the law of attraction, I want you to understand that there's a lot more to it than just that law and staying positive. Now, I mentioned previously in some of my videos how there's three things that are about the law of attraction. The camera's mixed up, so it's always messes me up when I put my hands up to showing the fingers. But anyways, there's the mind, body, and spirit, and we have to have all of those three things in alignment in order for us to properly manifest. Well, that's just the law of attraction. There's 11 more, and I won't worry about too much about the law of attraction until later on. But right now, I'm going to go through, and just so I don't miss anything, I've made myself some notes because I don't want to mislead you when I'm teaching you this. And I've studied this quite a while, so I know that this is all correct. And I'm taking this from Dr. Joe Vitale. Um, I've taken some of his courses, and I'm going to be certified in some of his programs in the next little while. And I like the way Joe does things because he makes it easy to understand. And I hope I do that with you guys tonight. I don't want to confuse anybody. I want to make sure everybody's understanding what I'm sharing with you. And I want this to make a difference for you. I want you to understand how this affects our lives. This affects their laws. So, and they're natural laws, just like the law of gravity. So you can't beat them. You can work with them. You can't use them. And you can't beat them. You can't escape them. You can ignore them, just like you can ignore the truth, right? But it won't serve you in the end. Trust me. If you're going to work towards having better self and a better life, then you're going to need to understand these laws and work with them, all of them, all 12 of them, because without that, it's going to be a shit show. Sad to say, and many of you may already realize that. And when you're watching this, you'll realize that that is the truth. And there's one way to be in alignment with yourself and your life and the universe, and that is through these 12 laws, of 12 natural laws or spiritual laws. So the first one is the law of divine oneness. Now, I'll let that sink in a bit. It's a foundational law, of course, and everything in our universe, it's connected. So you can't deny that. It's every choice, every word, everything you do will have an impact on the world and the people in your life. And that's the oneness part. We are one. We are all together. We all came from the same source. We're all spirits with a body. We all came from the spiritual realm. We're all here now. Our bodies are teaching or learning devices, and we're here for the experience. And when the body dies, we will go back to the spirit realm. It's been proven. That's what the pineal gland's all about. It's recently been discovered that when we die, I'll back up a bit, when we sleep, which is as close to death as you can choose to get, the pineal gland excretes a certain chemical. I can't remember the name of it. It's kind of tricky to say. And what that chemical does is it helps you have a closer spiritual connection to your subconscious when you're sleeping. That's part of the reason we sleep, is to be instructed by our subconscious and to be corrected, and to have that connection, that oneness, that universal oneness that makes us who we are. From that, then, I mean, as we are accumulations, our bodies are accumulations. Since we were born, we're an accumulation of food and experiences. Everything you've eaten and everything you've learned and done is who you are now. There's no getting around that. That's a simple fact. That's the law of divine oneness. And that's how it works. We are all one. And that feeds back into responsibility. It feeds back into so many things because of the fact that we are all one. We're connected. I have brothers and sisters in the billions, and so do you. We all do. It's a beautiful thing to realize, because who knew until you're actually told? I mean, I didn't know this when I was growing up, and I actually had to seek it out and study it in order to learn it. So it was one of those things where if you don't know, you don't know. And that's the problem, because too many people don't know. So it's, oh man. So anyways, I won't confuse you just by going back and forth on that. It's just true. We are all one. We're in this world together. We all breathe the same air. We all have water in our bodies. We all need to eat. We all need to have, some protection, some peace. We all want a blissful life. We're all in the same boat, brothers and sisters. Much love to you all. And that is the truth. There is no greater truth. Now, one of the next laws is called the law of vibration. And the law of vibration just talks about how everything has a frequency. There is nothing that doesn't have a frequency. The table that's holding up my laptop, the laptop, me, my chair, these monitors. I'm sitting in front of several monitors, so you probably see the reflection in my glasses. But everything has a vibration. When they discovered this, when they started going smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller with their microscopes and trying to figure out what is a molecule, what is an atom, what is a proton, that's when they discovered that there's a lot of space between what we think is solid, and the energy is in a vibrational state. So the higher vibrations are light, and so on and so forth, radiation, different wavelengths of light. You have the spectrum, as you see in the rainbow. So that's prismatically separated in a rainbow because of the water and the light. It's how it interacts. That's how it was created. There's so many beautiful things in this world that were created for our pleasure and our instruction. So when we see a rainbow, that's a signal from the Creator saying, hey, here's some vibrational awareness for you. You should check it out and be aware. So everything has a vibration, and the lower the vibration, so even our emotions have vibrations. So when you're happy, joyful, in love, feeling love, those are high vibrations. When you're angry, disappointed, frustrated, those are low vibrations. So we can be affected. Our lives are lived in a vibrational state all the time. Music is a vibration. Sound is a vibration. And water changes that. I think I'm going to start talking about water one of these days. But anyways, the 12 natural laws are all about how we are connected. They all connect us in various ways to make the universe what it is, and our lives how we live them. And there's no escaping that. It's a beautiful thing. Oh, yeah, absolutely beautiful. Because once you start to understand it, it starts to make more sense. And you start to choose to be in alignment rather than just letting your emotions run without awareness. So anyways, the law of correspondence is one of the next ones. Now, it's right up there with the law of divine oneness, because it's talking about repetition. It's talking about how everything corresponds. And it's talking about the patterns that repeat in life and in the universe. So I can't think of the name of the one pattern that starts out as like and it just gets to the bigger swirl. And they found this pattern. Scientists, researchers, meditators, observers of the highest order have found this pattern in everything. It's in flowers, it's in ice, it's in the stars. It's I'm run out of things to say where it is. This pattern is everywhere. The law of correspondence is all about repeating patterns. You have repeating patterns. Your brain repeats patterns that your ego introduced to your mind. That, of course, is protection for yourself. That your ego is there to protect you. So you kind of think that, okay, so I'm going to listen to my ego because it's never steered me wrong. Well, the irony is that it's never really steered you right. But we won't go into that now. So, anyways, there's these patterns are absolutely everywhere. And if you look at different ice crystals, there's some patterns for you right there. So that's again the law of correspondence, the law of patterns. So again, we go through this life and we are surrounded by these patterns, but we don't always notice them. What patterns do you habitually practice in a day? Do you get up in the mirror in the morning and look in the mirror? Do you remind yourself who you were yesterday so that you can't change into a new person today? Thought there. Do you have a certain number of coffees regularly every day, like I used to? Do you smoke? Do you do anything that is a regular pattern that doesn't serve you but should serve you? Patterns are there for us to have structure and to allow things to make sense for us. And if you don't use these laws of correspondence, these patterns correctly, then you're locking yourself into a pattern that doesn't serve you, because these patterns can be a trap. It's not cool if you've gone ahead and trapped yourself not knowing that, but I just shared that with you. So now you have an opportunity to free yourself from that pattern, the trap of that pattern. And I'd love for you to manage that. If you struggle with that, reach out. I will guide you through that happily, because it doesn't affect me negatively anymore because I understand it. So again, we have the law of inspired action. Now, it's hard to explain this one for me. I'm lying. Actually, inspired action is how I live. I was just teasing you there. Inspired action is a spiritual driven thing. What do you get inspired by? Are you inspired by the outside world or your spiritual connection? What inspires you on a regular basis? So I got to ask, and I hope you can answer. What inspires you? And what do you find yourself inspired to do? Are you inspired to do things that are serving you and other people? Are you teaching yourself to be healed and learning how to heal when you do these inspired actions? What are your actions and the inspirations to those actions? What are they making you do? What are you choosing to do by these inspired actions? What is the end result of your actions after you're inspired? Do you get inspired by the external, by someone pissing you off, and you decide that you're going to make them pay? Not very brotherly. And do you really believe they did that on purpose? Do you really believe they sat at the kitchen table last night planning that against you? No, no. It's just a matter of circumstance. The law of attraction works for everybody. And when people don't know how to use it, they manifest by default, by no choice, by letting the universe manifest for you without you choosing what's going to be manifested. So you end up screwing yourself because you don't know. So that's why I'm here to tell you, I don't want you to screw yourself because you don't understand these laws. They're important laws. They make a difference in our lives, and they are going to make a difference in your life when you start to understand them. Now, you can look this up on Google. I knew that. I understand that. But if you're watching me right now, you haven't done that, or you didn't take time to do that, or you didn't believe it. But I'm telling you right here, right now, that this is how we are meant to live. We are meant to live by these laws. That's where they're there. They're there to structure our existence. So Then now we can reach out to the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. So everything around us is in a constant flux. Everything's always changing. You can't see the changes because they happen on a molecular scale. But we are new people every day. We actually, our cells regenerate on a constant basis. They live and they die and they regenerate. And in your cell is the entire recipe to make a new you. Every cell in your body wants to live or protect the life that allows it to live. So when you are doing this thing about, perpetual transmutation of energy, we are again divinely connected in the oneness. What happens? Where do we go with this? It's all about vibrations, guys. Positive change. We got to make sure that we are understanding what's going on in our lives and with these laws. So the transmutation of energy means that it can never die. It always gets recreated or regenerated into a new form. So that also goes with frequencies. So the transmutation of energy also includes the change of vibrational frequency. So for example, if you're having a rough day, you're grumpy or upset, or you can't get out of that mindset that has you feeling negative, and you bump into someone that's having a great day, and they're happy and they're joyful and they're bubbly and they're like, oh yeah, everything's awesome. All you got to do is spend a few minutes around them, and their high energy will replace your low energy. Transmutation. Also, as you go through a day and you choose to change those thoughts for yourself, now you're getting to the place where you're not needing the external or relying on the external or hoping for a happenstance to make that difference for you. You are experiencing it by choice. And this is what I'm trying to share with you. This is all about choice and the choices that we have within the laws. So as we go through, we will learn, or not, what it is to truly embrace life. When you understand these laws, you learn how to embrace life. You learn how to be happy. You learn how to choose not to be grumpy or sad or do wrong things. Because with that spiritual connection, that divine oneness that you're aware of, hopefully, and if you're not, I can guide you through that too, we become more. We become closer to happiness, closer to joy. We learn how to deal with the negative things in our lives. We learn how to be us. We are not the body, and we're not even the mind. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. So these natural laws are there to help us understand, because we do get confused about being spiritual when we're in this meat suit, so to speak. We're taught by dead peer pressure. All those rules and laws, and you got to go to school and you got to work hard. All those things that people that didn't understand the natural laws lived by and taught you to live by. And that's where your ego was grown. And that's where all the lies started to come into your life that keep you separated from these truths, from the natural laws and your natural self. So there you go. That was the transmutation of energy, the perpetual. So now we have the law of cause and effect. Anybody ever heard of karma? That's the law of cause and effect. So do you respond because you choose to be the cause, or do you react because you see the effect? Do you even understand what I just said? So if I'm rubbing you the wrong way, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people don't understand this. So as I'm explaining it, it's going to become one of those things where, do you want to live by the effect or be the cause? Because when you're the cause, you're not affected by the effect, so to speak. Being the cause, you choose the effect rather than the effect choosing your reaction because you're too ignorant to respond. I don't know if that made sense. I hope it did. But just so you know, there's a lot of confusion in the world about how these things work. A lot of people think they understand. Oh, I know what that's all about. And yeah. And that's how I live my life and so on and so forth. And then you watch them and listen. And you realize they're full of shit because they're just lying to themselves. They got so good at it, they now can lie to you about it. And that's no good. That's no good, guys. We don't want that. We don't want people learning how to lie because they don't know how to live. That's why I'm here. I'm a holistic life coach. I'm here to teach you these things. That's why I do these lives twice a week, because I know people need to learn these things. And I love teaching it. So, as a certified law of attraction coach, this is right up my alley and I love it. And of course, Joe Vitale is he's kind of fun to listen to and watch too. So, but he takes things very seriously. He knows what he's talking about, and he realizes that humor and joy are part of the existence that we're supposed to live by. We're supposed to have fun in life. We're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be joyful, but we're also supposed to understand the negative parts that keep us from that, so we can maintain. If you're having oodles and oodles of negative experiences, then you're not catching on. You're choosing to react to the external rather than being the cause. So the law of cause and effect, which is karma. A lot of people understand karma. Oh, that'll come around to you later. You'll get yours. We'll let Mother Karma get you later. I'm not going to do anything. Karma will get them. So on and so forth, right? Well, you can kind of fall back on that, but that's default. The universe does have, it's that divine oneness again. But trust me, the law of cause and effect is something that you should embrace, something that you should understand deeply, because it makes a huge difference in how you live, how you choose to live. Because trust me, everything's about choice. Remember, you were only born with one thing, and that's choice. How do you choose in a day? Do you wake up in the morning and choose? What do you choose? Me, I wake up in the morning, I'm already enthused about what's going to happen in the day. I have a plan, I have a purpose, I have goals, and I know what I want to make happen in a day. I know what I want to make happen every moment of every day. I want to make the people that are around me that I love, I want to get them closer to the world of natural law so that they can choose a better life for themselves. We all get to choose for ourselves only. If you're thinking you should be choosing for someone else, karma's going to get you, so to speak, and you don't want to do that. Trust me, the only choices you need to make in this world are for yourself. If you're thinking you need to choose for other people, other than children, of course, until they understand how to choose for themselves, but I'm talking about adults here now, and my audience is 25 plus, and that's never going to change, because I teach my children one-on-one. I don't teach them with videos, and that just is what it is. So as we go forward, we realize that the law of cause and effect, I would believe that's probably the one that, next to the law of gravity, everybody seems to like to embrace, because there's a little bit of a revenge or a vengeance involved, so to speak, at least in some people's perspectives. It does not mean that. That's not what it's meant to do. The reality is that that person's getting shat on because they shat on someone else previously. And that's divine oneness and cause and effect coming back around. Yep. I mean, some of our Earth's historical scientific minds, for example, um, I won't go there. We'll just move on to the next law, because I'm just starting to drag on about the law of cause and effect. So I'm sorry about that, guys. Anyways, the law of compensation. All right. So the law of compensation says that whatever you put out, we'll focus on that idea that compensation can come in many forms. So, for example, if you win a large amount of money, you might think you're getting a reward. Depending on how you've lived, that could be a curse. It could lead to a worse life rather than a better one. So, essentially, you reap what you sow. So, in the law of compensation, it's be careful how you treat others. Be careful how you treat the planet. It's very similar to the law of cause and effect. And it just is one of those things that keeps the balance going. So the next one is the law of relativity. Oh, Einstein worked on this one, eh? It's all about neutrality of things when seen in isolation. So in no particular person, experience, emotion, or action is evaluated as good or bad until you look at it in comparison with something else. So that's relatively speaking. Now, I shouldn't have said Einstein was working with that, because he was talking about not the law, this particular form of the law of relativity, but universal balance from a scientific perspective, not from a spiritual perspective. So from a spiritual perspective, the law of relativity talks about Um, the perspectives, how things interact, our lives in relation to other people's lives, different perspectives that we can have, where you can make improvements in your life, where you can choose to be more grateful uh, relative to the things that you already know. So you know something about yourself in your life that you're not happy with, and you choose a better path relative to that. So that's kind of how that spiritual law of relativity works. The scientific law of relativity, E equals mc squared, that's the one that Einstein was working on. And they're related, but I won't go into that now. Polarity, the law of polarity. So we all know the north and south in a magnet. We all know the positive and negative in a battery. And that's everything has an opposite. So good has a bad, light has a dark, big has a small. All those different things. The law of polarity. Everything has an opposite. So when you're working through your day, when you're working on your routine or whatever it is, you're at work, all those different things, just keep in mind that there's an opposite to everything. And you can live with it or you can fight with it. It's not a big deal either way, as long as you know about it and you don't ignore it. The law of rhythm, also known as the law of perpetual motion. It's all about movement. Everything comes in cycles. There's, there's the seasons, the body's aging process. Uh, if you were to watch the rotations, the orbits of the planets, and I've never understood why the moon doesn't rotate, but we won't go there. I just a thought that I had. I'm going to have to research that one because that makes me curious. Everything else rotates, but the moon doesn't. Very unique in this universe. So, anyways, the law of rhythm. It's a negative part of the cycle right now. Excuse me. When you are working on the law of rhythm and you're looking for a prosperous change, understand the rhythms that are involved. Understand that you have rhythms. Your thought processes have rhythms. Like, for example, when you get upset about something, what is the normal rhythm that you have? Do you go deep into it and then just like think vengefully and then come out of it, not sure what to do? What is your rhythm? How do you go about expressing your rhythm and living in your rhythm? What is your rhythm in a day? Again, how do you wake up? How do you think? What do you do as you go through the day? So, and then of course we have the law of gender. It refers to the fact that there are two major types of energy. You can think of them as masculine and feminine, or yin and yang, or as anima and animus. Uh, it's just each type of energy appears to play in your life, whether there's an excess or a deficit. But it is as simple as it is. That I don't really pay too much attention to that particular law. It's just is what it is. It's again the law of polarity in a different way. So now when we get finished all these, the law of attraction is the one that we all tend to pay attention to and focus on. And it's the one that everybody seems to want to live by. And let's keep in mind that it's only one of the laws. It's not all of the laws. And if we only live by that one law, we're not living fully. We will be able to manifest, but we're unlikely to manifest those things that are true to us because we're not being true to us to start with. If you're not being fully aware of all these laws of nature, then you are leaving yourself some gaps that are not going to fill in without understanding. So you need to understand how these laws work for you, how your life works within these laws, and how you can embrace these laws to have a better life. It's a beautiful setup, wonderful creation that we live in, and we all have a chance to make it better. It's a wonderful place we live. Everybody has the potential to have an awesome, blissful life. I understand that not everybody's in the perfect place these days. I get it. I understand that deeply because I see it regularly. but that doesn't mean you have to stay there, right? What are the circumstances in your life? What would you like to change? Are you using your growth edges? You probably don't know what I mean when I say that. But a growth edge is when you get to a place where you don't understand what's going to happen next, and you're right at the edge of your growth. You're right in a place where you're going to grow or turn back. And that's the opportunity you have to embrace your ignorance and learn more, grow, and realize that this is your chance to be more. Don't hold yourself back with fear. Fear, false evidence appearing real, is a great way to ruin your life because it's false, it's illusionary. There is nothing real about fear. Byron Katie talked about a guy that was caught up in World War II. He was caught up in a bombing in his town in Europe, and he almost got killed in the bombing. Now, the bombing went on for a few days, and he survived, and he was able to find family members and carry on. And he ended up having a full life. But decades later, when he would go to sleep, he would still feel or hear and think about the bombs falling. And yet they hadn't fallen for decades. This is how our mind traps us. We get caught up in these thought patterns and we don't see the reality. We have a fear that is something we can't choose to escape. And then we make the wrong decisions based on that fear. Because if you're making choices based on an illusion, you're going to make the wrong choices, my friend. And, I don't like to say that, but it is the truth. It is the truth. And it's a simple truth. And you know what? It's a beautiful truth because it's real. It's how we live, and it's what we live with. And I want everybody to realize there's a great power in that. We can have some really huge, huge impacts in our lives and other people's lives if we just give ourselves the chance. So be strong, be aware, be diligent, and be full of love. Love is the vibration that changes everything for the better. Source energy is a high vibration, and its signature is love. Universe created us out of love. And the law of attraction works in our lives out of love. Everything that's ever going to happen to you positively is going to happen because you did it out of love. You had a feeling of love for everything. That's what responsibility is all about. If you have the responsibility for everything, then you know how to love everything. To choose to be blissful. To choose not to say, I don't like that, or I don't want that, or I hate that. That puts you in a box. That doesn't allow you out to experience joy and happiness. If you think something is wrong, it's just a thought. And even if it is wrong, it doesn't mean it has to stay wrong. You can change it. You can change anything. Yes, you can. I quit smoking. I'm losing weight. Those are changes that many people don't choose to make. But we need to make them if we want to move forward healthily and happily and in a way that we can heal others. If we can't heal ourselves, how can we heal anybody else? You can't help someone if you don't practice what you're trying to help them with. As a life coach and a holistic life coach, that's mind, body, and spirit, I cover all the bases. So meditation, exercise, good food, absolutely incredible mindset it's mandatory if you want to have a positive life. You can't have a negative mindset and have a positive life. How in the world are you going to do that? You can't think negatively and end up with a positive result. It doesn't happen. It really doesn't. And if you're trying to do that, reach out and let me guide you to the truth. There's no need to go through life like that. Those 12 spiritual laws, and I'll repeat them for you. I got my handy dandy little piece of paper here, 12 universal laws. So you got universal oneness, the law of attraction, the law of vibration, the law of correspondence, the law of inspired action, the law of cause and effect or karma, the law of compensation, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, the law of relativity, the law of gender, the law of polarity, and the law of rhythm. Now, I'm just going to blast through these quickly again just to help you remember. You can always look these up on Google later, or you can look up on Joe Vitale. He'd probably help you with them too. So the universal oneness, we're all one. Every human being, every living animal, every tree, rock, or even the grass that we all walk on is connected to the source that makes up this divine matrix that we call the universe. Law of attraction. What we think and feel deep inside of ourselves is reflected back to us in our physical world. What we think, we become, when in reality, what we believe, we become. Think about that. It's the true belief is where the law of attraction comes into its greatest power. You've got to believe, because otherwise your thoughts won't stay in that positive vibration and your mindset won't stay in that positive place. The law of correspondence. The key is to recognize these patterns in our own lives so that we can take action either towards continuing with the positive patterns or changing the patterns that no longer serve us. Remember, I mentioned the patterns and how we live by patterns. Those patterns are our choices. Do they serve us? Do they serve our purpose? Do they serve our health? Do they serve our life, our loved ones? How we want to live, what we want to do? You can change those patterns. It's a matter of thought and choice and practice. And if any of this leaves you wondering, what? I can't do any of this. Or you want to talk about it because you don't believe it, or you want to challenge it, reach out. I'm here. So, ah, so where was I now? Okay, compensation. No, I was at oh yes, correspondence. Now it's inspired action. So through inspired action, we make our dreams a reality. Your actions must match your intentions, and when your actions and intentions are aligned, the possibility for instant manifestation arises. That's inspired action. And that's where our positive mindset comes. That's where our spiritual connection gives us the inspiration. And that's where we find our belief because we are spiritually or divinely inspired. And we move forward because we're following a law. So it's a beautiful thing, absolutely beautiful thing. So let me see, what do we got here now? The law of compensation. With what you put into the world will return to you. Since this universe is made up of energy, this law confirms that whatever our energy is will be compensated with like energy. So that's, again, the law of attraction, along with this law, because like attracts like. That's what attract means. Now, I get it when you're thinking about a magnet. North attracts south. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about the law of magnetism. That's a physical law. Okay? So just keep that in mind, because this can get confusing when you decide, okay, wait a second, that's not all the laws, or that law's not what we're talking about. Don't do that to yourself. Okay, I'm talking about the spiritual laws, the universal laws here. I'm not talking about magnetism. I'm not talking about electricity. I'm not talking about alloys, metal alloys, none of that stuff. The periodic table. I'm not going into science here. Actually, neuroscience does support this now. So again, there's where the confusion can come in. Neuroscience has proven all of this stuff to be real. So don't think that I'm bullshitting you, because I'm not. Of course, you can believe that if you wish. That's your choice. We all have that choice. I'm still going to love you. And I want to help you if you feel that way too. So, and then of course we have the law of cause and effect, which I had mentioned previously. This law is directly aligned with the law of universal oneness. We're all connected. Therefore, everything we do to one another, we are actually doing to ourselves. So if you do something to someone else, you're doing that same thing to yourself. That's the universal law of oneness. That's we're all connected. So how can that not be true, right? And we're all connected. You know that. Don't tell me you don't have connections with people and actually truly connect with them. I know you do, and I'm thankful that you do, because that's part of being human. So then, blasting through here again, where was I? The law of relativity. The universe is a blank canvas that projects our thoughts and beliefs back to us. Allow the movie of your life to be a movie you would be proud to show the world. Make it a masterpiece. So we have the law of the gender, and that is complementary energies unite the union. When complementary energies unite, the union has the power to change the world. When the male and the female energy combine together to make one unit of energy, the yogis call that the highest form of yoga. So again, beautiful power in there. awesome power. The power of polarity. Everything has an opposite. That's not unlike a magnet or a battery. But we must experience opposites in order to validate our choices in life. Every opposite has value as a teaching construct that allows us the opportunity to create the life we desire. We need to see what we don't want in order to find what we do want, is what that's talking about. Rhythm, the law of rhythm. Everything has a cycle and a rhythm, or a stage, a time, how it goes through what it goes through. The yogi treats each stage as just that, a stage. Understanding and acknowledging these cycles allows us to not become too attached to any one stage in life. So, don't think in the past and expect that to have a positive effect on your future. If you're living in the past, you're not living in the now, and your future is the past because that's what you're thinking about. That's what you're creating. You're locking yourself into that thought pattern. You are not living in the now. You're not experiencing life the way you should. If you're thinking in the past, you'll never, ever think to stop and watch that flower bloom. You'll never, ever, ever stop to watch the birds in the bird feeder. And I don't just mean like stare at the bird feeder. I mean watch the bird as it does what it does all around the yard or wherever it goes. And follow that. Understand what that power of life is and how we're connected to it. So that's awesome, guys. This is going to be a short go live tonight. Actually, it's 40 minutes, so I'm doing pretty good. But really, really thankful you're here. Thank you so much for being here with me. I really appreciate it. I got my go live right tonight. And I'm going to probably be sharing some of my high performance coaching stuff in the future in my next go live. As of course, I'm doing 2 go lives every week, Wednesday and Sunday night. So this Sunday night, I will be sharing. I haven't chosen yet. We will see. My divine inspiration will come along after some meditation or after practicing my yoga or my exercises. I'm sure the universe will give me a divine idea to share with you guys. And I'm looking forward to being able to do that with you. If you have any questions, you want to reach out and ask questions, by all means, put a comment and I will get back to you as soon as I see that comment. So, to your best self and beyond, you you magnificent manifestors. Much love, and we'll see you on Sunday night. And if you have a subject you want to talk about, by all means, reach out and tell me. I'd be happy to share. You just have, by all means, say what you want, and I'll fix you up. Much love, you guys. See you in a couple days. Bye.